Number 6. Reflection, which means to take a few minutes to review what has been learned. And since you've been paying attention, you'll notice that this is a combination of retrieval practice and elaboration. As a student, there are a few questions you can ask yourself to add more layers to your learning and strengthen your skills. What are the key ideas, examples, what went well? And as a teacher, you may assign weekly low-stakes learning paragraphs in which students are asked to reflect what they learned during the previous class. Number 7. Calibration. This means that we constantly need to reassess our knowledge and adjust our judgment to reflect that reality. To avoid cognitive illusions, we need calibration. For instance, air pilots use flat instruments when their senses may be misleading them about the orientation of the plane. Students use quizzes and practice tests to see whether they know as much as they think they do. Then, focus your efforts on the areas where you may not be up to snuff. Lastly, number 8, mnemonics. The authors describe this not as much as a learning tool, but rather a way to organize the information you've already learned. Mnemonics means memory, and mnemonic devices are like mental file cabinets. They may be acronyms like ROGBIV to help us remember the colors of the rainbow, but if we can make mnemonics more visual, we can make them more memorable. One of these visual devices is the Memory Palace, which roughly illustrated is imagining you're walking through a very familiar setting and you place images along the path to remind you of the things you need to remember. For example, as you're about to open the door to your house, you grab the handle and realize it feels soft and velvety. What's happened to your doorknob? Wait, it's turned into a magic hat! As you push the door open and pull your hand out of the hat, you retrieve a test. This, of course, reminds you of retrieval practice, our first study tip. So you're a little mad because you don't remember giving permission to any magician to turn your door into a magic hat. So you go to the kitchen where you find a space shuttle. At least this reminds you of space practice. Tip number 2. This is getting a little weird, so you slowly back away only to bump into your favorite baseball player mixing up drinks for you, which reminds you of your interleaved or mixed practice. So you tell Alex Rodriguez you'll just take orange juice, and he gives it to you in a fancy glass, and as you sit down to sip on that orange juice, you look at the glass, and it has the most elaborate patterns you've ever seen, which reminds you of the 4th habit we've reviewed today, elaboration. This is getting crazy, so you excuse yourself and walk to the closest restroom in your house. But on your way there, you trip on a generator that is hooked up to a printer, which is printing lots of tests. Of course, this reminds you of the 5th study tip, generation. You finally make it to the restroom, and there you look at your reflection and ask yourself, is this how memory works? This obviously reminds you of the 6th study tip, reflection. You decide to take a nap, so you go to your room, and when you open your door, you find your bed contorted in all kinds of ways. But there's a remote control on top of it. You grab it, and it says bed calibrating device. Quickly set your bed back to normal, but not before being reminded of the 7th study technique, calibration. When you wake up, you realize it was all a dream. You can be calm now. In fact, you can keep calm and learn the method of Losai, or Memory Palace, which along with the 7 other techniques will help you take your learning to a whole new level. Congratulations! You have now reviewed Make It Stick, The Science of Successful Learning by Mark McDaniel, Henry Roediger, and Peter Brown.
Created using Powtoon.